So today, in this video, we're going to be breaking down your diet and some of the changes that you need to make. But before we just get into some of the changes, I want to make sure that you have a basic understanding of nutrition so you understand why these changes are important in the first place. Now, good thing is you already know what calories are, and calories are just the energy that we find within food. But did you know that all calories are made from three food groups, which is protein, carbohydrates, and fats? Every single food group out there has either one or more of those ingredients inside it, and each of these food groups has their own calorie values. So 1 gram of fat has 9 calories, 1 gram of protein has 4 calories, and 1 gram of carbs has 4 calories. And these calorie amounts will always stay the same, no matter what food source they come from. It's just the vitamins and mineral amounts that will change with them. I.e., 1 gram of carbohydrates from pure sugar has 4 calories but no vitamins and minerals, and 1 gram of carbohydrates from an apple has 4 calories but now has vitamins and minerals too. And that's what we like. Now, for you, for your diet is already low in calories, but it's also low in protein as well. And I think that has probably been causing you to slowly lose muscle mass as the years have gone by. And now, when you've had this time period where you've gained a bit of weight, you're finding it hard to bounce back the same kind of way that you used to, maybe once upon a time. In any case, you building more muscle mass is going to increase your metabolic rate over time and is going to make it easier for you to stay leaner, eating the same amount of calories. I would estimate that your diet is giving you about 40 to 60 grams of protein per day. And to build muscle mass optimally, we need someone to be on 1.5 grams to 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. Because you want to be 70 kilos, this means that you'd be looking at 110 grams to 140 grams of protein per day. Example of high protein foods are going to be firstly all of your meats. Every single meat out there, once it's cooked, has about 25 grams of protein per 100 gram. Your next best food group is going to be dairy products, namely yogurts, cheeses, and milk. There are some yogurts out there that have reduced sugar inside them and higher protein intakes, like this one here, this one from Aldi. This is 150 calories per pouch and 25 grams of protein. So it's almost the same amount of calories and protein as chicken breast, which is insane. And then also with some cheeses, you get this. Edam cheese is pretty low in calories and high in protein. Per 100 gram, it has 320 calories and 25 grams of protein. So that's great. Your next best food group is going to be things like beans and peas. Any kind of beans, any kind of peas has about 20 grams of protein per tin. And then after that, all other foods that you see will always have protein in them. It's just that it's not going to be the main group, so it's going to be lower. Like if you get oats, you get a cup of oats. 1 cup of oats is about 200 calories and it'll have about 10 grams of protein inside it too. But it'll have about 50 grams of carbs. So as you can see, much, much higher carbohydrates than protein in that one. Now, as I said for you, I think that your diet is already giving you about 40 to 60 grams of protein per day, and it's already fairly low in calories. So we just need to change some of the carbohydrates for protein foods in your one. And an example of that is things like your breakfast, where we have two good options here. Right now, you've got the date, the egg, and the oats. We talked this before, it's about 450 calories, maybe about 500 that comes through there. And two things that we could change that to is one, as an option we've already talked about, is just going with a cup of oats and 1.5 scoops of whey protein. A cup of oats is about 300 calories with 10 grams of protein in it, and 1.5 scoops of whey protein is going to be about 150 calories with 30 grams of protein in. So if we have those two together there, we're already going to be looking about the same calories, 450, but with a much higher protein intake of 40 grams. Another option that you could do is having 4 or 5 eggs. Now, if you get 4 eggs, that's 320 calories, 5 eggs, about 400 calories. And the amount of protein that you would be getting there is between about 32 and 40 grams of protein. So, again, the same, if not slightly lower calories than what your current breakfast is, but much higher in protein too. And then when we come over towards your second meal of the day, instead of having something like the fruits, where right now you've got about 400 calories worth of fruits, which is about 100 grams of carbohydrates. And what we would want to do is change that to having about 50 grams of carbs and 50 grams of protein inside it. And an example what you could do with that is take the ciabatta wrap that you made for a different breakfast, all with the same kind of like veggies and sauce and stuff like that that's inside it, but add in about 150 to 200 grams of meat. If we were to have that wrap and we added in, for instance, 200 grams of chicken breast, we would immediately bump that up to 50, maybe 60 grams of protein inside there. And the total calories we'd be looking at, probably about 300, 350 calories. Either way, it would be about the same, if not less, than what you're currently having with the fruit, but have a much higher protein intake inside there, which is obviously going to go towards different purposes in your body. Just making those two changes alone could already bring your diet right up to, 90 to 100 grams of protein before we even got to your last meal on the day. And then when you add in that last meal without even having to make any changes right now, that would already take you into this 110 to 140 gram protein range and get you at the optimal amount that we need for you to start building muscle at a good rapid rate. So there's one of two outcomes that I would expect here. One of them is that with the calories staying around the same and you increasing that protein intake, is that your weight actually stays fairly the same, but you get rapidly stronger. And what that would mean for us is because you can't really get stronger without building plenty of muscle, it means that you would be losing fat and gaining muscle at a fairly similar rate. And that would start to become pretty obvious to us as the weeks go by for things like if you have 10 kilos added onto your overhead press, but then when we take your measurements, we notice that you lost like 4 centimeters off your stomach, we would know that things are really, really going in the right direction. And I think that's the more likely outcome that's going to happen right now. The other outcome that we could be aiming towards as well, and it's one that we can definitely make happen if we want to make it happen, is that you lose about zero point 0.5 kilos of body fat per week, which should be a fast enough rate of fat loss progress that we would notice results pretty quick, but a slow enough rate of progress that we wouldn't be taking too many calories away from the energy that you need for the gym sessions themselves. But we can talk about this more in the gym and see if we can find the sweet spot for you. In any case, I'll catch you tomorrow. Much love.